You have no public hearing.
Good evening, everybody. We are going to call the meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council for Tuesday, July 19th to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Council members Abel,
Here?
Dennison,
Here.
Droz,
Here.
Lombardo,
Here.
and Mayor Schooler.
Here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Abel.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. First on our agenda this evening is in our presentations segment, San Bernardino County Fire Update.
Right.
Chief Tuttle.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I wanted to talk about a couple of videos, show some videos that kind of highlight the work that our men and women do beyond fighting fires and going on EMS calls. So I have a couple videos. The first one is a 3-minute video about Miracle League. So as you know, we go participate in Miracle League every Monday night during the season. You know, started in the very beginning, we were going a couple of games per season, and it just kept increasing to more and more. And now, like I said, we go every Monday night when we're not running calls. When we're available, we're there every Monday night. So that's the first video. It's about 3 minutes long. And then the second video is a video that was shot by one of our captains at Station 42 on the Mesa. It shows a puppy rescue. So there was 2 puppies. You may have seen the video. 2 puppies that were trapped in a tortoise den, and they couldn't get out. They were stuck behind the tortoise, so the fire crew got up there and dug the puppies out. So that made national news, which was kind of cool. Yeah, imagine that, a puppy rescue in Yucca Valley making national news. We also got a letter from the president of PETA thanking us for rescuing the puppies and saying that our community, members of your community are lucky to have such fine first responders who don't hesitate to help humans and other animals in need. So thank you for all your compassion. Yours truly, Ingrid Newkirk, president of PETA. So that was kind of cool. So with that, we'll go ahead and play the videos.
I personally always play ball with Levi. Cody always plays ball with Nolan. And then we have Sonia, who is upset if she doesn't get 2 buddies. There will be special requests on the field, like, no, you're my buddy, and then sometimes they get in arguments. And Miracle League is a baseball league for people with special needs. Our role is to go down there and be their buddy. Whatever they need, help getting around the bases because they're in a wheelchair, assistance hitting the ball, throwing the ball. It's our job to make sure that nobody gets hurt. Everybody there is just having a good time. Both teams are rooting for each other. You know, there's really no competition. There's no outs. Everybody's just there to have fun. It's just a really neat program to be a part of. 6 o'clock is game time. They'll do a national anthem. We buddy up with our players. Sometimes you have no choice in the matter. They come up to you and like, you are my buddy.
You want to be my
Absolutely.
buddy? Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're with him the whole time. So he hits the ball, you're running with him to the first, second, third. It's all about getting out into the community that we serve. We will run into some of the players at the grocery store, on medical aids. You know, they'll instantly, we'll recognize each other and talk about, when the next season is coming out. A lot of our players obviously have some medical issues, and we've gone to their houses on medical aids to already have the relationship. We already know each other. The parents already know us. It is a lot different than just going into someone's house that you don't know.
I grew up in this area, and there were not programs that made kids with disabilities feel normal. So this is like a normal thing. This is baseball. We started in May of 2013. Fire and EMS and police guys are heroes. For our players to have the fire department come out and help them and be their best friend for a night, that's huge. It's awesome.
It's so beautiful being able to see like the parents come together and being able to hang out and communicate with each other. Being able to see the joy on the faces. There's literally never a bad day when I come to Miracle League.
We've had the opportunity to invest the town resources into Brimfield. They're used to the field. There's about a lot of comfort that comes from that. Yeah, it's been a real blessing to us in the community, and you can see the participation here. You know, the bleachers are full every night. That's the thing I dig about
Throw
it.
it to Nolan. Throw it to Nolan. Nolan, throw it in.
Followed closely by Andrea.
Nice, bud.
He hasn't said many of his one-liners. He's famous for saying, like, if somebody's like really swinging at it, he'll be like,
He's chopping broccoli. He's chopping broccoli.
I'm definitely invested in this community. It feels like home. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love it. All right, dude.
What's in there?
We brought gifts.
Oh!
Right?
Finally a hat.
Finally, right? I'm Zach Taylor. I'm the captain with San Bernardino County Fire Department here in Yucca Valley, and I'm proud to serve you.
Good job.
Yeah, so our public information office puts those videos together, and there's a ton of them on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and search San Bernardino County Fire Department, there's over 200 videos on there that you can watch. Anything from stuff like this. We have several of these in the communities that we serve. There's also incident footage from some of the guys have GoPro cameras on their helmets, so you can see live fire footage. You can see the guys going into a building on fire. We also have public service announcements, some educational pieces about defensible space or disaster preparedness. There's some news footage on there, but a whole list of videos that you can watch to see what we do on a day-to-day basis. And I also brought with me the crew from Station 41 that is going to Miracle League on those Monday nights. And then Stacy Schooler is here also. I don't know if any of them want to say any words, but yeah, thank you, Stacy, for what you do there, putting that together. Yeah. And then as you saw in the video, a lot of our council members and town manager and town attorney, they're all there helping us on those Monday nights. So I can tell you now that the town attorney, Tom, is the best pitcher in Miracle League. So he's way better than me. So anything, Stacy? Or no? Okay. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or comment on that, or we can just roll right into the second video. And
Mayor, if I can just add one additional comment on how valuable their service is at the summer concert on Saturday night. And one of your, I think her name is Monica, one of the gals in the video came up and just started talking, and then all of a sudden transitioned into Miracle League. What an exciting time it is, and she loves the firefighters every time that they come and help out. So it goes beyond just Monday nights, and it makes such an impact on their lives. So we're super grateful for their participation.
No doubt. I know all the kids look forward to that, to the fire department showing up and all the help that you guys give. And also our town attorney, you are a star pitcher, Curtis, umpire, Brian Clement, town staff, the announcer. He's really become a fixture out there. The town's been really supportive of the program. We're pretty proud of that, as well as all the council members taking a turn being umpires and pitchers and whatever we have to do. So, yeah, good job, everybody. Great program.
Yeah, Council, just to make sure that I know that Stacy Schooler brought in a picture, a beautiful picture for the town participation. It's up there as well. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you check it out.
okay, very good. We'll move on to the second video. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to a report of a bunch of puppies stuck in a tortoise den down the street from this station over here on the Mesa in Yucca Valley.
Hey, let's see if we can find some food for it and see if we can coax it out of this hole. Okay. Okay, he's coming towards me.
Kev, I think we got through.
Honey, you can do it. Come on, Paul, you can do it. You can get around him now. Come on, Paul. Come on, Sam. You can... Come on, dog.
Oh, there you go.
Come on, Paul.
A little bigger than a puppy.
Good job. Go to mama.
Let's go right back in.
What are their names?
Poe, Ben, and Oscar.
Oscar's the turtle.
Because he used to live in the trash can before I rescued him.
Like Oscar the Grouch.
All right. Well, we're happy that they're all safe.
Good story.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you. Oh my God.
So again, just to, yeah, proud of all of our folks who always go above and beyond. You know, that's definitely not something you see in a job description for firefighter, but they got there and they did the right thing and got the dogs out of there. So again, happy with all of our men and women who serve Yucca Valley and the whole Morongo Basin. And yeah, thanks for having us tonight and letting us show those videos.
It's really fun. It's kind of neat to see the alternative training that you provide for your people.
Right.
It's nice to have them thinking in different directions. That's good.
How long was that puppy stuck?
I don't know. I don't know the time.
Okay, well, looked like he was grateful to get out
Bigger
anyway.
than puppies. though.
Yeah, they kept calling them puppies, but they're
Yeah.
They must be really big dogs.
all right.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief, and
That was
thank you
fun.
guys
Thank you.
for coming out.
It makes our town special.
Love Station 41.
Next on the agenda,
Sure looking
recognition.
for that news station. I've heard a rumor that there's one coming. Okay.
Next up on the agenda, recognition of retiring employee.
Al Irwood, if you would join me up front, please.
Thank you.
Almost 10 years to the day, maybe about a week, a little over a week, 10 years ago, Al started working for the town of Yucca Valley. Al is part of the team that provides customer service in all of our town facilities and for all of the users that are here, whether it's the senior center, the rental of these facilities, recreation programs, health-related programs. Al has been a critical, very important member of the team that helps us provide those services to the community. You've heard us talk about the use, and the council's aware of the tens of thousands of people that use our facilities on an annual basis. Al's been part of that team of around 5,000 setup and tear downs a year as the customers use these facilities. Al, I think, is one of the best examples of someone who always had a smile on their face, was always willing to bend over backwards to help people out in the use of the facilities and to make sure that everybody knew that they were welcome here. Al also spent time in the other 21 buildings that the town has, making sure that they were prepared for the users and they were as professional as you see this room this evening. So Al has decided to retire after 10 years with the town, and we wanted to be here this evening and say thank you. There's a certificate this evening for Al with sincere gratitude for your professionalism and commitment, providing 10 years of excellent service to the town of Yucca Valley and the community. Wishing you all the best in your retirement, presented this 19th day of July 2022, signed by Mayor Jim Schooler.
Very good. Congratulations, Al.
And Al may want to say thank you to a very important person in his life, and many of you probably know her, Mrs. Arrowwood, out at Friendly Hills Elementary School, and I think you're retiring at the same time. You may want to thank her.
I will do that. Well, anyway, I don't know if I was supposed to say something or not, but I have to say one thing. The one thing that got me here every day was you folks. You are the greatest group of people I think I've ever had to work with. Had to? Yeah, well, that would say. I would have to say, next to the fire department, which I was working before here, it's like we're just a family. And I enjoyed my time here, but the time just came for me and my wife to retire together. So we were just a couple weeks difference, and we're really happy now, and we're good. Can't go anywhere for $10 a gallon of gas, but, you know, we'll get there eventually if I have to just walk. So I appreciate everybody and for the recognition for my time. And if you don't mind, I'll come in every once in a while and say hi to you because I know who you are and where you are. So it's been great. So thank you for your time, and we'll see you around, I guess.
Well, thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Al, are you planning to stay in town then? You going to be retiring here in Yucca?
Yes.
Very good.
We're not
Thank you
going
for your
anywhere.
service.
Maybe down the end of the street, but that's about as far as we're going to go. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing, Al, you know, you're right. I've known you for many years, even before the town, and, you know, you brought the camaraderie and the team effort that you put into it was just like at the fire station in here. You were always approachable, you were always welcoming, you were always helpful, and I know your job at times could be overwhelming and pressed because there's a lot of things, as Shane had said, going on within our town, and people really enjoy using these facilities. As you can tell, there's a big call for it, and your work ethic is fantastic. So thank you for making and keeping everything connected in here. And hopefully you'll get past the point of having staycations and you'll actually be able to go somewhere and have something while you two enjoy your retirement. So best to you.
Great, thank you.
I was going to echo that. Al has always been not too high, not too low, just kind of steady. He shows up, he works, he does his job in a professional way. And believe it or not, in his job, there are people from time to time that can get on your nerves. You would never know it with Al. He's just steady. So thank you for your service, Al.
Welcome.
Good.
And next up, San Bernardino County Sheriff's recognition.
Mayor, I know you have some things that you want to present to our captain, but maybe before we do that, I know the captain has an announcement, an introduction that he would like to make, so why don't we start with that?
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Caught me off guard with that, so I guess I'll transition. Yeah, like Curtis said, and everybody's aware, this is my last council meeting. I'm retiring soon, but good things in the future. We're fortunate enough to have my replacement here with us tonight, so I can do a quick introduction in person. This is Robert Warwick. He will be taking over my spot here soon. He's been with the department since 1999. Just a quick little update for everyone to know about him. So he's had a lot of assignments with the Sheriff's Department. He's worked at our academy, worked in corrections multiple times. I first worked with him when he was on a team in homicide. We were down there together. Then he spent a little time here in the Morongo Basin, got promoted to sergeant and ran a homicide team for a while, and then became the lieutenant commander of our public affairs division. I can tell you, one of the hardest working divisions in the whole Sheriff's Department. So he ran that for a long time, and presently he is the executive officer at the Yucca Station. So I tell you, it's a blessing that we will have him. He comes with some time already spent here in the Morongo Basin, familiar with our community, the way we operate, and the transition will be wonderful, and he'll do great things for the whole basin. So that's my introduction, and just super thankful that he's the one taking my spot.
Awesome. Lieutenant Warwick, if you could come up, we'll get a quick picture of you and the mayor.
You're welcome picture. What's that? You tell me. This is. Well, good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I got the chance to meet all of you briefly. I'm I'm not sure who was here in 2014 when I was introduced as a sergeant joining your community, but I was here in 2014 and portions of 2015. As you know, in the Sheriff's Department, we're somewhat transient, so thoroughly enjoyed my time here. Very excited to take over this command. Captain Luke Niles is a great friend of mine. I respect his work ethic and the pride that he takes in this profession and how he serves you. And I just want to assure you that with myself and Lieutenant Wiebold, that's going to continue on. He's given us a great roadmap, and we're going to continue, and we're here for you and all the members of the town and everybody who visits this wonderful community. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to many, many meetings and working together to take on some projects. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, as you begin to take a look at your stuff there that we're going to give the outgoing captain, I just want to say on behalf of staff, Lucas, it's been a great experience working with you. One of the downsides of our captains here in the basin is they only seem to hang around for about a year, maybe two if we're lucky. Sometimes after a year, we're okay with them moving on to either retirement or another post. I'm kidding. But that's not the case here. We're sad to see you go. We appreciate your candor, your honesty, your integrity, and your ability to communicate to all of our residents as well as town staff, our elected officials, and to do it in a very professional way day in and day out. So we'll miss that. We'll miss your sense of humor. And you set the bar high for Lieutenant Warwick coming in. So we have a couple things that we want to give you on the way out. I think that you'll get a kick out of. Maybe we'll start with the boring one, Mayor. No, not that one. We'll do the boring one first.
Okay, well, it does seem like too soon to say goodbye, but we do wish you well, Captain, and thank you for being part of the team and just being an inspiration and representing the department so well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So we have this, what we call a cheese board for you, presented to Lucas Niles in recognition of his exceptional service to the town of Yucca Valley with sincere appreciation for the dedication, commitment, and professionalism as police chief for the residents of Yucca Valley. Thank you for the immeasurable contribution to the town and for making Yucca Valley a better place to live, work, and play. Dated this 19th day of July, 2022. So,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The next item that we have for you is just so that you don't forget where you came from when you're on that St. Lawrence River up in upstate New York or wherever the heck you're going.
Not going to make me blush on camera.
No, we're going to keep it respectful here. Maybe there's a different time for that. But we wanted to give you this as a memento of your time here with the town of Yucca Valley. We do appreciate your service. You can put that up. We expect to see a picture of that at some point in the new house or garage or somewhere appropriate.
I promise I will.
I'm sure you'll have some.
I will. I'll say something briefly. I don't want to take up everyone's time. And really, I feel like I'm just going to regurgitate what Al said because he said it so eloquently from the heart, and I feel the same exact way. I've been beyond blessed to work with this department, and really, I mean that wholeheartedly. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department is a phenomenal organization. It just beyond measure. But really what made that so special for me is the Morongo Basin's been mine, my wife, and my daughter's home for 25 years. Specifically, the vast majority of that was right here in Yucca Valley. Retirement is going to take us away, like Curtis said, but really what makes working for the Sheriff's Department so precious in my mind was serving wonderful communities in all of San Bernardino County, but specifically here in the Basin. It's working amongst wonderful elected officials, just tremendous staff, both here and on the other end of town. There's just really no bad days coming to work because of the collaboration we have And really, at the end of the day, it's because of the wonderful support we get from the community out here. This has always been a collaborative, true teamwork. And everyone in the entire basin, I think, feels that same way. We are all just working to have a better community for ourselves and for our children. And I mean that wholeheartedly when I say that's what makes it worth coming to work every day. But, you know, part of, I guess, growing up is you got to transition from doing the things you want to do, start doing the things you have to do. I've been blessed for 30 plus years doing exactly what I've wanted to do between the Marine Corps and the Sheriff's Department, but it's time I grow up. So that's why I'm retiring. So with that, thank you all very much. It was a wonderful ride. I will miss you all and everyone in our community. Thanks.
Well done.
Yeah, well, Captain Niles, thank you very much for your dedication to our area. You know, as you said, you've been here for many years. You're part of our community, you know, a piece of the fabric in here. And, you know, I never hesitated to call you. We've spoken many times on issues in our community that were of concern to me and I believe our residents. And they were always handled immediately. You were always more than engaging and helping and, most importantly, responsive. And so I understand that it's a big task because there's a lot of moving pieces with your department. But you took the time, you made me feel special, and that made the community feel special. And so those are the things I don't think people understand, that we always stayed in contact back and forth of what was happening and what was important. And so it doesn't go unnoticed, and you're always fun to be around. You know, when we're talking about things, we got business done, and that was very important to me. And you took it serious, and I hope you enjoy your retirement. The best to you in your future, and I'd love to see where that sign ends up. So thanks again for all your dedication to our community and the entire county.
Councilmember Droz.
All right, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. You, when neighbors in my district call me and they have an issue, you always respond. And I've called you with issues, and you always respond. And you always respond, you always start off when I text you, it's always like, sir. So I'm gonna miss the sir text. So anyway, but I appreciate all you do. You always respond, you always help out all you can, and I really appreciate you. So I wish you the best, and make sure you don't put that sign on a real pole, you know? If we take off an old street sign, we don't want to see you breaking the law. Okay, thank you so much.
Captain Niles, will really miss you, and you and your entire family are examples of serving others, putting others above yourself, going into harm's way to serve our community, to serve our country before that is just commendable. You only have one life, and you did it in service. So I thank you and salute you for that. All the best in retirement. I know you'll find other ways of serving your community wherever you go.
Captain Niles, thank you so much for your service and your contributions to the community, keeping it safe, keeping our officers safe, and you really had a lot of challenges, and you faced them head on and did a wonderful job. We're very indebted to you for the things you've done for our community. And thank you, and enjoy your retirement. It's well deserved, and we know you've worked hard for it, so enjoy every bit of it. All right.
Okay, well, that's the fun stuff. Now we're going to get down to business. Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to do so?
Mayor, I'll approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Second was Councilmember Lombardo. Motion was Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmembers Abel.
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Droz.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
And Mayor Schooler.
Yes. The consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters or formal documents covering previous town council direction. Items are enacted by one motion and a second without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Requests for public comment on the consent agenda items should be filed with the town clerk. Does anybody in the public wish to comment on any item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, any member of the council?
Mayor, I'd like to just make a quick comment on item number 11, the Carl Moyer grant, Mojave Desert Air Quality Management District. I appreciate the staff going to the trouble and the foresight to apply for this and receive monies to help not only our equipment replacement, but also our air quality here in the Morongo Basin. So I am very pleased that the town took the time to go after that grant and getting it. So I appreciate that. That was my only comment.
Then may we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'll be glad to make a motion to approve consent agenda items 4 through 15.
Dennison will second.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes. Department reports. Item number 16, adoption of the Town of Yucca Valley Local Road Safety Plan. May we have a staff report, please?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. We have a presentation for this item number 16, that is the Town of Yucca Valley Local Road Safety Plan, State Project number 5466026. The recommendation in front of you is as recommended by the Planning Commission, that the Town Council finds that the project is exempt from CEQA in accordance with Section 15378B4 and Section 15061B3 of the California Environmental Quality Act. The local road safety plan is not a project, nor there is a possibility of significant effect on the environment from this plan, and further, the local road safety plan does not result in a commitment to any specific project. And part B of the recommendation is that the Town Council adopts the Town of Yucca Valley Local Road and Safety Plan. So what is a local road and safety plan? According to Caltrans' definition of local road safety plan in the website, these plans provide a framework to facilitate local agencies' partnerships and collaboration, generate a prioritized list of improvement and actions, provide a proactive approach to addressing safety needs, reduce traffic fatalities and injuries, and support the state highway safety plan. Why is necessary the local safety plan, or why a local road safety plan? Is to increase awareness, to identify the stakeholders, to form partnerships, to determine problem areas, generate solutions, and implement safety improvements within the town limits. The local road safety plans has a vision and goals. The vision statement that is in the report is to advance traffic safety for town residents and visitors alike by reducing traffic fatalities and injuries through proactive implementation of safety improvements. And the goals are to reduce the number of and severity of collisions to save lives, to manage speed to reduce number of severity of collisions, and to improve traffic control devices to reduce the number of severity of collisions. The process preparing this local road safety plan, this is a picture from the Federal Highway Administration on how to do it. So the process is to identify the stakeholders, then to use safety data, and then to choose proven solutions, and then implement those solutions. For that, the base of the local road safety plan was what is considered. It was based on what is considered the 40s of the road safety, education, enforcement, engineering, and emergency. So we created, or the town with the consultant created an advisory committee just to do this plan. The safety partners were San Bernardino County Fire Department, Caltrans, California Highway Patrol, Morongo Unified School District, and San Bernardino County's Sheriff. There was city staff. Susana Stroh was a project engineer, and the team from Advantech were Jose Guedes, project manager, and Lawrence Dyde was the project engineer. Then we go to the part that is the technical analysis of these local road safety plans. We use sources of collision data. We use three sources: the town collision database, the statewide integrated traffic record systems. I'm going to start mentioning this name too much. I'm going to call it tweeters. And the transportation injury mapping system, I'm going to start calling these teams. The technical analysis is composed of three parts: the sources of the collision data, the methodology, and the selected intersections and local road segments. The sources of the collision data: the town has a collision database. We took the years from 2013 to 2020. The total collisions that we have in our database is 1,223 collisions. The important numbers that are coming from the town database are that 58% of the collisions occurred in a state route, and the other 42% took place on town streets. The Sweeters database, also from 2013 to 2020, it has a total of collision of 1,179. There is a difference in how they do the categorization of the accidents. So the number of injured were 464, and the number of killed people in those accidents were 27. Teams database, the same years, the total collisions were 369 with injury, and number injured 472 and 27 killed. Teams is a sub-database from the Sweeters, but they only refer to the collisions that were with injuries. So in order to move to the methodology, what the teams provide us with the collision heat map. You can see the green areas. The red areas are the spots where the injuries, where we have more accidents. Okay, yellow and then green where there are accidents, and where you can read some parts here of 29 Palms Highway is that there was no accident in those areas. So with that, we selected the group, or the committee selected the intersections ranked by teams according to the numbers of collisions within 250 feet of the intersection for state routes and town streets. With that, we selected 18 intersections. The ones that are on top and on kind of a brownish color are from state routes 62 and state route 47. The committee selected 8 intersections there and 10 intersections for the town of Yucca Valley roads. So the total, so with that, then we go to the analysis and methodology of the report. The report has to weight somehow how the accidents were, so we use something that it is called the equivalent property damage only. So it's a way to put all the accidents in the same line and prioritize or give it a lighter or heavier categorization to that intersection. So based on this analysis, the table that we saw before changed into this one that is ranked each intersection according to this EPDO index and ranked of intersections. So you can see that the first intersection that was ranked was Yucca Trail and Warren Vista. Then we have 2 from State Route 62, and then Onaga Trail and Church, and continue on the 18 intersections. From those 18 intersections, the committee decided to select intersections and local road segments just to do the report and to start evaluating alternatives or identify traffic improvements or safety improvements. So the town intersections were Yucca Trail and Warren Vista, Onaga Trail and Church, Yucca Trail and Palomar Avenue, Yucca Trail and Indio, Avalon Avenue and Buena Vista, and Yucca Trail and Hanford. From these town intersections, 2 were removed because we had just made improvements on Yucca Trail and Warren Vista Avenue. We have just made improvements on Yucca Trail and Palomar. So there was no enough data just to evaluate these 2 intersections. All the other ones were evaluated according to the consultants. In the state route, even if the town doesn't have jurisdiction over the state route, Caltrans was part of the committee, so we were talking to them about what improvements can be done on those intersections. And the road segments on Aga Trail from Kickapoo Trail to Palomar Avenue and Yucca Trail from Sage Avenue to La Contenta were the two road segments that include several intersections that were in all the report. So the intersection of the local road segment analysis shows pictures like pictures of the intersections, how many collisions, and what was the severity of the collisions. Suppose Yucca Trail and Warren Vista from 2013 to 2020 has 19 collisions. 1 was a motorcycle accident, 3 were truck accidents, 2 people were killed, and 11 people were injured. 62 and 247, the intersection has 15 total collisions, categorized by head-on collision, side, hit object, overturned pedestrians. So this analysis was done for each intersection, and it was done for 62 and Sage. It was done for Yucca Trail and Avalon and Palomar. It was done for Yucca Trail and Sage. And the report has emphasis areas after the analysis, have 3 emphasis areas. So going back to the town database, we can see that 58% and 42%, 58% took place on the state routes and 42% took place on the town streets. So then we go to qualify those things with sweaters and teams for the violation categories, and the 2 databases show that the same thing, that the traffic signal and signs has the big percentage of the violations that happen in accidents, that unsafe speed is another percentage, and the automobile right-of-way is another percentage, big percentage of the accidents. So with that, the report or the plan, one of the emphasis areas is the speed management, so we need engineering, enforcement, and education for that. And the solutions proposed were to establish proper speed zones, enforcement, radar speed trailers, and solar power radar speed feedback signs. Another emphasis area was the collision reduction on a state highway. So more than half of the collisions occur within the town limits are on the state highway. We need to rely on Caltrans expertise in the operations and maintenance of those intersections. The solutions are to continue to monitor collisions on state highways, maintain the communication channels with Caltrans and the CHP, and upgrade the collision database software. The third emphasis area is maintain a collision database to keep official records of the collision reports, identify locations with high number of collisions, and be proactive to review the hot spots like were shown in the heat map. The solutions for that is to establish an efficient procedure of receiving and filing collision reports, maintain the current town collision database, and acquire a new collision database software. With that, the recommendations of the report is to consider implementing the following safety projects. The project number 1 will be to upgrade traffic control signs and markings at selected locations, as they are recommended in section 4 of the report that you have attached to the town council report. And the project number 2 will be to install speed radar feedback signs at selected locations. In regard to project number 1, the street departments and the public works department started to look at the intersections that were recommended. And if I am not wrong, I think we are requesting cost to improve those intersections with bigger signs and other safety signs. The project number 2 will come as money is available, I think so. So again, the recommendation in front of you is, as recommended by the Planning Commissions, that the Town Council finds the project exempt from CEQA in accordance with the sections 15378B4 and section 15061B3 of the California Environmental Quality Act, that the local road safety plan is not a project and there is no possibility of significant effect on the environment from the plan, and that the plan does not result in a commitment to any specific projects. And part B of the recommendation is that the Town Council adopt the Town of Yucca Valley Local Road Safety Plan. With us, and I think is online, is Lawrence Dye, who was the project manager for the local road safety plan. If you have any questions in terms of methodology on how we get to do the analysis of each intersection. With that, that concludes my report, and I will answer questions following public comments.
Mayor and Council, just a couple other comments. The type of information that you've seen here combined are elements that make up implementation of traffic safety programs in the town. You saw two key components, really three: engineering, education, and enforcement. You've seen reports come before you from the Sheriff's Department on potential locations where extra or additional enforcement is necessary. We've seen situations where engineering solutions are necessary. Keeping this type of data current and updated annually is very important, because traffic safety programs are cumulative year after year after year. Traffic volumes change, traffic movements change, traffic patterns change, and so monitoring those and evaluating those annually is extremely important. Finally, as the council will recall, this project and this report is mandated now for agencies to be eligible to seek out many, many funding sources, primarily HSIP grant funds, which can result in significant funding allocations for safety improvement projects, such as the project that we recently finished on Yucca Trail, Warren Vista to Palomar. So that concludes staff comments, and we'd be happy to answer questions following public comment.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public that would like to comment on this item? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium, state your name.
My name is Arthur Ayala. I've seen this issue, and I keep on saying the same thing. Nobody thinks of freeways. Freeways is the answer, because if you build a freeway, you're going to not have to worry about stop signs or stopping here, stopping there. And I'm also thinking 3 lanes on each side would be awesome between here and Joshua Tree. And because we're having more tourists come up here for the park, and it's only getting worse and getting worse and getting worse. And I know this is funny, but since gas price has doubled, I've seen triple increase in traffic. So people love to pay for more gas, but also too, by building a freeway, we can set up a system to help police and ambulances, because the biggest issue I see here in town is ambulances have to pull out, and all of a sudden they're at a stop sign and nobody wants to let the ambulance cross over and get out and come to the lane. And this I truly see also with large fire engines. And yes, when police have accidents, trying to close the highway long enough to clear the road and get the road off takes space and time. A freeway would solve that, because it would go straight through, no stop signs, no stop lights, and you could build a freeway in such a way that would help accommodate police officers and fire departments and ambulances as well. The other way you're doing is still another years of social study with no possibility that it will even help, because traffic continues to increase year after year after year. By the time you put all your signs up, you're going to need more signs, because traffic continues to increase. All you live here see that. I mean, I've been here, I just celebrated 50 years out here, and I've seen traffic increase so immensely. And we are always trying to look for the shortcut to solve a problem, and it's not there's no shortcut that we have that will solve the problem. It's hitting it head on. And again, freeway, freeway, freeway. That's the only way we can do it, because it will cut a tremendous amount of stop signs, stop traffic, collisions. It will also help if people need, if there's accidents and you got on the side roads where they have better chances of getting off, instead of having the police trying to stop the traffic and go around the people and getting people maneuvered. Because most people, all they want is to jump out, take a picture of the accidents before they go through. And with that, I'll shut up.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If you haven't filled out a form, a card with your name for the record, thank you. Any other public comment on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to the council for comment, questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, just quickly, some clarification. It looks like the data set was from 13 to 20, and 2 intersections that were listed a couple times in here. I was kind of curious to see, as not now, but I'd like to see the changes since we've made improvements at Palomar and Warren Vista. Warren Vista seems to be a little better controlled. There's more lane area, for vehicles, and I don't know if we have as much of a collision issue there. We do have a congestion issue starting there because the road is being used more, but that was just something I wanted to mention, that I'd like to see the changes within the last 2 years up to, current from the 20 end of the report. If we've made significant changes that are beneficial, it's kind of hard to know without having that follow-up. And the other part was under speed management. One of the 3 points that were brought up, I believe it was controls of, the intersections. One was enforcement, and the other one was education. I was kind of curious on what would we do to educate people that have driver's licenses, operators of vehicles. I don't know how that works unless maybe a speed control, which we talked about, speed radar signs. Is that a form of education?
Yeah.
To let them know what the heck they're doing?
Yes, sir. So radar speed trailers, radar speed signs. When the town does newsletters or other public information pieces that go out, educating people on driving the speed limit, those safety measures, those things save lives. Those are all part of educational outreach.
All right, thank you.
Councilmember Lombardo?
Just wanted to say the report was well done. Thank you, Armando. And there was a lot of information in there. Like Councilmember, excuse me, like Councilmember was saying, we want to have a follow-up in the future on where we've spent money to improve the traffic situation on certain corners and that sort of thing. We're very curious to see how that's improved it. I think it'll be dramatic. And this information is really good over a long period of time to see the trend and where we're headed with it. But I guess there are quite a few changing factors that even with, as we make improvements, the road direct, use changes and that sort of thing, and that all influences the accident level and that sort of thing. And the fact that almost 60% of the accidents are occurring on state highway, we don't have as much control over that, but we have a good working relationship with Caltrans, although it's a little bit slow and cumbersome. They have been trying to upgrade and do things in our area, and we're thankful for that. So thank you for your efforts on this. I think it was a very good presentation.
Councilmember Rose.
Thank you for the great presentation. And I'm thrilled to see that Highway 247 is getting some attention. I really hope Caltrans looks into the future and thinks about possibly widening Highway 247, and that might really help a lot more. But this is really cool that Highway 247 is addressed. I've had many constituents talk to me about the conditions going up there and the dangers of turning right or left. I remember many years ago, I was driving to Yucca Valley High School in the morning, going to work, and a bus was turning left going down Old Woman Springs Road on one of the streets there, maybe Bandera or one of those. And coming around the corner, and I slammed on my brakes. I didn't hit it, but that's a dangerous area. I mean, we need pullouts, we need wider roads, and that's really important. But the one thing I'm surprised that wasn't mentioned at all, I was looking at 247, of course, but Buena Vista, I see some heat, some stuff on the heat map and the other map here, and Buena Vista and Yucca Mesa Road. So representing District 2, I do get calls on that occasionally, and also emails. And I think Buena Vista and Yucca Mesa Road, I'm just surprised it's not even mentioned. I've been looking and I don't see it. So I think especially Buena Vista, there are a lot of, both, and Yucca Mesa. There's a lot of the trucks hauling a lot of big things, hay and garlic or onions or whatever, and a lot of military vehicles go down Buena Vista and up Yucca Mesa Road. So I would like to see those two roads addressed a little more. I don't even see them in there. So thank you. It's good work.
Councilmember Abel?
Yes. First of all, I found the report fascinating. I am very glad we're looking at proactive steps that we can take to try to address the issues. Traffic safety being a #1 killer of people it's very, very important. Couple things. I've had a phone call from a person stating that they're seeing an increase in people just running red lights. They're trying to make the light on the highway, and they just blatantly run through the red light. So they're asking about red light cameras, for citations and so forth. My problem is I've seen studies that are both ways on it. And a lot of times there's studies that show that it could actually increase accidents as people get afraid of that camera, and they instead of going through a yellow at the last minute, they slam on the brakes because they don't trust themselves in making it. So red light cameras was one of the suggestions from a constituent. Also, we used to have a dedicated motorcycle officer on the highway, and I'm telling you, it really worked because it made me slow down because I knew, he was out there somewhere, and I needed to make sure and plan a little extra time before I went through town. And it was sort of a great game of trying to see where he was at that day, and sometimes you spotted him, sometimes you didn't, but it was a deterrent, and I know people really talked about it, thought about it, and so I don't know if we have an officer, not a moto officer, I know we don't, but do we have someone or several officers during different shifts that are primarily looking at traffic and traffic enforcement, and if not, what could we possibly do to help see these numbers come down?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we do still have our one-town traffic officer. He works. The interesting thing is, and some of this is mapped out on the display that we saw, traffic patterns have changed so much in the town in the last 5 years, where back when we had the motor officer, the problems with speeding, accidents, or just reckless driving really occurred predominantly on the highway. Now, although there is a lot of significant accidents that still occur on the highway, we get a lot more on off streets. And when that occurs in the off streets, we get a lot more calls for service about it because it's happening in the neighborhoods. So our traffic deputy spends a little more time responding to calls beyond the highway. So that's why we see them a little bit less. We've gotten some OTS grant money. And then in addition to that, I'll come back why that's important. But traffic enforcement for what the sheriff has identified as COVID driving, which honestly is a true phenomenon. COVID driving is something remarkable we're seeing. We've been given additional funding from the Board of Supervisors through the sheriff to address traffic. So we are augmenting here in the town our one traffic deputy to multiple officers doing special operations, and we're primarily focusing our efforts amongst the high target areas identified in the blooms there on the report. One of the other interesting dynamics that we're coming out of was the construction along the highway. Many residents and visitors figured out a lot of side streets. Some of them successfully to get figured out the routes to get to their location. Many did not. The GPS took them in some interesting routes, and we've seen a lot of traffic collisions in places where we've never had in the 20-plus years I've been doing it out here. So the traffic officer, again, is getting pulled away from the highway doing enforcements, doing these traffic accidents way south in our community, or some, interestingly enough, up here above Brem Field, because the GPS is telling them they can go that way to avoid the construction. So now that we're coming out of that construction phase, more of the traffic's coming back down to the highways, so you'll see our traffic officer more along the primary corridor.
And we're getting away from having vehicles marked specifically with the word traffic on the side, and we're getting away from even Town of Yucca Valley on the side of the cars, right? It's all going to be the sheriff's emblems and so forth, the county.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And you know, to address the issue, we work very closely with CHP too. When they have available time and they're passing through the town, they do whatever they can to assist us, primarily right now dealing with COVID driving.
Well, I did see the effort made, especially around the beginning of the school year, where officers were placed at the school sites, intersections very busy with pedestrians, kids learning how to cross or not cross. And so their presence there added some reassurance that, you know, we are looking at traffic and that we're worried about pedestrian versus vehicle. And the more sidewalk projects that we can get approved, safe routes to school, those types of things will help as far as that's concerned as well. On the report, thank you, Captain. On the report, it talks about upgrade traffic control signs, markings, and so forth. I'm sure all of our current markings are to code. Are the codes now where we can put oversized stop signs or update them, or are we out of compliance as far as our signage?
So the town follows what's called the MUTCD, Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And there are probably some locations where some upgrades are warranted. And staff will be going through that process, the data that comes out of this report, as well as the other intersections, making sure we are keeping those intersections up to speed. I do want to make one comment on your questions regarding traffic signal cameras.
Right.
There are legal issues, and I won't even pretend to know what the current status on the legal issues are with those. But the big issue is Caltrans won't let us mount any equipment to the signals on Highway 62.
Oh, yeah.
So we're out of luck on those because of the state highway. So,
Yeah.
but town staff is definitely addressing the implementation of the most current standards, and we want to thank Advantech and the staff there for assisting us through this process and helping us pull this data together.
And do you feel like the installing the speed radar as reminders to people on certain roads is going to be
We
helpful?
believe that's effective. Is it effective for 100% of all drivers? No, it is not. Is it effective for many drivers? Yes, it is.
And the ones that are located by school zones, are those programmed to be on during school hours, and then they sort of
Yes,
disappear
sir.
after that?
Those are programmed for the school year and the school hours, and we've actually ordered replacement of those devices. Those devices are around, I think, 12 or 13 years old. You can't even get parts for them anymore. They were starting to fail, so you're going to see some new equipment installed. Hopefully before the start of the school season this fall, they should be arriving and installed. So those are permanent. Those are permanently mounted, and then trailers comes down to staff having time to move those around into the problem areas where we have the most citizen requests.
Okay, and all of our engineering are up to date where the sheriff's department can use radar on our streets?
We've used radar speed surveys for establishing our speed zone since incorporation, and you will hear staff preach that over and over and over again. That's a very important element of effective traffic safety program.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, that might be one of those great educational things if the sheriff's department or staff decides, you know, just in the High Desert Star or on Z1077, having an officer with a radar gun there and stating that the town of Yucca Valley is using radar to enforce the streets, you know, it gets people's attention like, oh, yeah, okay, I forgot that, you know, they have that capability. So that might be part of a good PR campaign, or at least the educational campaign to get something in the newspaper or in the local media radio station.
Okay, thank you. The recommendation is that the town council find that the project is exempt from CEQA in accordance with section 15378B and section 15061B of the California Environmental Quality Act, and that the town council adopt the Town of Yucca Valley Local Road Safety Plan. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Councilmember Lombardo,
I'll second.
seconded by Mayor Pro Tem.
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes. Item number 17, appointment of voting delegate and alternate for the business meeting at the 2022 League of California Cities Annual Conference.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This next item before you is to appoint a voting delegate and an alternate for the business meeting at the upcoming League of California Cities Annual Conference. This year, the conference is being held September 7th through 9th in Long Beach. So the League is asking each city to make a formal designation for a representative to cast votes on behalf of the organization. Only persons so designated are allowed to vote. This year, council members Lombardo, Mayor Pro Tem Dennison, and Mayor Schooler have expressed interest in attending. So as part of the League's annual business, any pertinent resolutions that will be up for consideration will be brought before the council at your next meeting in August. The staff recommendation is to designate Mayor Schooler as voting delegate and Mayor Pro Tem Dennison as the alternate for the business meeting of the 2022 League of California Cities Annual Conference. However, the designees could be reversed or changed if the council prefers. This concludes the staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions following public comment.
Thank you. Does any member of the public have any comment on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to the council for comment, questions?
Mayor, I'll move the item as recommended unless there's discussion.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Councilman Lombardo?
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes. Item number 18, Townwide Beautification Program Update. May we have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to bring up a worksheet here that is in your agenda packet. Earlier in the spring of this year, we identified one of the community priorities of community beautification, and that encompassed a number of different elements and different programs. We just wanted to give you a quick update. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this because the council received and filed and discussed this just a couple months ago. So not a lot of time has transpired, but we did want to highlight a couple of different things that are moving forward. On the shopping cart ordinance review, town staff did review the existing town ordinance on that issue for abandoned shopping carts throughout town. Felt that the existing ordinance is sufficient as is, has teeth to it, has clear and concise objectives for the responsibility for shopping carts with the retailers. It still is a problem. I was out in Paradise Valley about a week ago, counted up 48 shopping carts. So it's a big deal, and not only in that neighborhood, we're starting to see them everywhere. So Town staff has, I think as of last week, notified by certified mail all of the retailers in town of their obligations under the ordinance. We will continue to push that until that is resolved. There's really no reason that that needs to continue. So we're looking forward to we started to receive already some input. They have a requirement to give us, for example, in the ordinance, it requires that they give us their shopping cart plan of how they're going to mitigate abandoned shopping carts. So that's a requirement that they give to us. That way we know that we have active participation from the retailers. Moving on, town street signs, had the chance to talk to Robert, our street supervisor, indicated that that inventory process is almost complete. There's an analysis underway on what that cost would be and whether that's going to be done continue to be done in segments, or we jump into bigger bites of that project. What that budget requirement is, along with how those might be installed, whether that's done with forced labor or through contract services. On your agenda earlier this evening, under the consent agenda, you identified the median maintenance to release that bid document. We did a couple of technical changes on the bid to make it possibly more attractive to other vendors that might be interested in doing certain components of that. So that's moving forward. The building improvement plan, spoke with our senior management analyst today on that. Indicated that we hope to have a update to the council specifically on that program late summer to show you what that would look like, along with any budget requirement for that program. Monumentation, soon you're going to be getting a report back from your Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Commission on some of their recent activities and what their program looks like. This was included in some of their discussions, and so we'll give the council that update. That fall of 2022 timeline is right on at this point for coming back to the council with what that would look like. We have an appointment set up to meet with the vendor that will be assisting us, your engineering on-call firm, with quarter commercial design alternatives, what some of those may look like. So that is moving forward. On the next page, this one, number 7, as well as on the next page, you can go ahead and move to the next page. We identify a number of code compliance efforts that are underway. For example, I think through the discussion with the Planning Commission, a highlight was made on some of the abandoned signs throughout town. So we're moving forward on a number of different fronts. I will tell you that as we begin to prompt either property owners, business owners, business operators on their obligations, there may be some pushback that we get, there may be pushback that the council gets. But we would just remind you that when we did our community survey, some of the priorities that were communicated to us was the desire to see some of these cleanup items moving forward. So we look for the council's support as we begin to implement a number of these steps. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions on this program where we're at so far, again, after public comment.
Thank you. Does any member of the public have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to the council for comment. Councilmember Abel?
Yes, on item number 4 and 6, are those intertwined? If we're going to do a building improvement plan, and then also we're talking about trying to get some type of design?
They may or may not be. It depends. So on number 6, for example, on the commercial quarter design guidelines, as we begin to have that conversation with the engineering firm to identify what alternatives are out there and what we want that scope to look like, it may tie into some of the areas that are most in need of improvement. So there may be a way to coordinate some of those activities. Generally speaking, there are 2 different scopes, but understand that they can impact each other depending on how we move forward.
Right, so if we start to mandate certain things or want to go in a certain direction, providing small businesses or small owners of commercial buildings to do those improvements for the aesthetics of the town, for future revenue and all those types of things. I'm really hoping that we have the money to be very aggressive on a building improvement plan, because I've been here for 30 years, and I see the same buildings have not been touched in 30 years, really, significantly. And we keep thinking, or I keep thinking, well, someday it's going to look better. Someday that particular strip mall will get some type of an improvement. And 30 years later, it's still basically the same look. And it looked bad 30 years ago. It looks horrendous today. I've had developers say, you know, you're better off bulldozing down some of these buildings and having them rebuilt. I don't want to lose the charm and the eclectic look of the downtown area. I love what it can be, and we can see that some people have made investments in small buildings that totally transform that little section. So I would really encourage the town council to be very generous or very aggressive in the building improvement plan in trying to make something happen, because it doesn't go unnoticed. I was talking to Councilmember Drodes about, you know, the new Luna Bakery, just a plain little building that you never really recognized. Now it's painted up and it's nice, and it's got a young couple in there with a kid that's running a small business, and everybody in town noticed that little store that got improved. So can you imagine the impact when you see an entire strip mall improved or entire block improved, how exciting it will be for the businesses, but also for our citizens to see that something positive is happening. So it's very, very, as we said, the corridor is very important to us, and the survey says the citizens think it's extremely important. As far as the signage and so forth, I think we need to have staff come up with FBI's most wanted and come up with the 12 worst offenders and go after those 12 and then put somebody else on the list once those are taken care of, because yeah, some of the signs are completely out of code. They have a huge banner across half their building saying, you know, it's open for business or whatever it is, and then some others have businesses that haven't been in there for 10, 20 years. So we used to be one of the worst offenders, by the way, because we had the PFF building on the corner that had an old sign that was blown out and, you know, it didn't work anymore, and how can you start asking other people to make improvements when we didn't even improve our own? And then also, part of the beautification will be our project that we have in the downtown area with the market area or the concert area or whatever we're going to do in Old Town. That could be very good timing to get all these things together at the same time. So we make an investment in downtown, we ask other people to make an investment and to move forward. Yeah, the shopping cart thing, that's crazy those are those numbers. And I know some of the technology is they have the electric carts that stop working when you get to the edge of your parking lot. I feel bad for the people who don't have transportation to be able to get things to their homes, so that has to be worked out. But leaving them in front of and not taking them back when you go back to the store is not acceptable. So thank you so much. I'm glad the staff is really working hard on this.
Any other comments?
Yeah, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So thank you, staff, for the report, and I'm not surprised at the town manager, but I'm happy that he took a drive over there, but not surprised with the outcome. I've been speaking about shopping carts in areas and other types of transitory kind of things left around town, and one of them is you'll actually find carts from stores on the east end all the way down on the west end, and it's surprising that some went that far. So I'm not shocked that they don't roll it back empty. But it is something that is really, it disrupts neighborhoods, and a lot of people won't bring them back. So I'm glad that we're starting with that, and we identified it, and we're trying to push it back on compliance with the programs that are already in place. I think the programs are great. It's the participation that we see in the businesses that's causing a lot of the problems. And a lot of that is with us with code compliance. And some of the things I talk about right now directly revolve around increased availability of resources at the town level to enforce our ordinances and have that code compliance process in there. So we talk about some of the other signage and things too. So that's one, and I'm all on board with Councilmember Abel's discussion on a program to help people improve their buildings and beautification. That's a big part. But the little pieces that can be handled, I think, are the simplest to do. You know, the little small pebbles in your shoe is like the shopping carts. We can really work hard and enforce that. The code compliance efforts are very important. The wind-blown trash, we all see it. We are windy desert. Some places I had made, you know, a comment, just jokingly, it looked like a trash truck crashed. But there's places that we can clean up. You know, the clean teams can't really do all of that. They're out there, there's volunteers that pick up the stuff and make improvements, but it is a big town. We have a lot of visitors in the area, and there's a lot of disruption, and these are the things. So I think those are the two biggest things. You know, a lot of the trash issues, the shopping cart issues. And I will make one comment. I've been driving around the areas lately and noticed a lot of improvements. I'll give a shout out to the road department. The signage in our area is getting better all the time. I noticed the new signs. I've even seen signs placed in areas where new development is starting, the area between here and the Mesa, what we used to call the water track. There's actually signage out there now, and people can start to navigate and figure out where they're at. So those are good changes. We're trying to at least get everything signed, but we have a lot of improvements that need to be made. And I believe that monumentation is another part of that, to help people direct throughout the town. You'll see them in other communities where there's maybe a few things on a sign to help navigate through our community. We are getting a lot of small shops in a condensed area. As Councilmember Abel said, the bread shop. So people drive by it, and then what happens if they don't get a heads up of these businesses? They're having to do what I hate seeing. I told my kids never do one. That's a U-turn. We're getting to have more and more U-turns on the highway, and that is probably the number one thing that causes a lot of serious accidents, are U-turns. So a great program outlined. Thank you, staff, for that. I'm all in support of this.
Councilmember Lombardo?
I'm in favor of a lot of the ideas too. I think that I've been in town a long time, and it really does need some attention, and it's kind of neat that it'll be we're paying attention to it at a time when we have some projects going on in the downtown area in the future, that the meeting area and the in Old Town, developing some of those plots that the town has, and coming up with a unified plan. I like the idea of the median maintenance. It's just so ugly. And I think that there are some designs that I've seen in other towns that would make the area easy to maintain and still add some beauty, maybe even an opportunity for some artwork. The commercial quarter, being a business owner, I know that it's not too exciting to hear the town wants us to, redo the front of your building. Knocking it down is prohibitive because the cost of building new nowadays is just astronomical. I look forward to some kind of happy medium where maybe the town can help to some extent with simple things. We've got to be very careful with how we spend that money. But there are businesses in certain areas that would benefit greatly from just simple improvements, and maybe a design team that can help them say, oh, if you put a facade here and you change the color scheme there, it will improve it dramatically. A lot of it is maintenance. Going around the last few days, my wife and I have been getting up at 7 in the morning and going to the building that we own and raking the leaves and cleaning the trash and trimming the trees a little bit, and it makes a huge difference. And a lot of these buildings just need a coat of paint and maybe a mural, Some of those things would really beautify and improve the area. So there are things that are capable of being done. It takes effort, but I think that if we unify as a town like we've always been able to do in the past, and we make this a priority, I think we can come up with something that is very workable and a great improvement visually. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'll do whatever I can to push this forward.
Councilmember Droz?
The one thing I would like to see beyond all this, these are all great ideas, but I think we need better signage for town facilities. Possibly like something with the town colors on it or the town logo saying North Park is over here, or the museum's over here, or the library's over here, or town hall is over here, or, you get the idea. Brem Park is over here on the highway, so people know where to turn to find town facilities, or they might see the sign, say, hey, I'm going to check out the museum. So I think we need better signage on the highway for town facilities.
Okay, good comments all. And this is a receive and file. I am glad, I like all of the priorities myself. I think I'm just glad that we're attacking it. So we'll move on to item number 19, and I will ask the town attorney to help us kick that one off and give us some guidance regarding our protocol.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Mayor and Council, just before the staff report on this item, I'd like to go through a potential conflict of interest issue with the council. As you know, this item is a discussion and a consideration of placing on this November's ballot for the voters to decide whether to adjust the town's transient occupancy tax. And because a decision by the council to place a transient occupancy tax measure on the ballot, because that would modify taxes that apply to vacation rental properties, which are owned by council members, those council members owning vacation rental properties likely have a conflict of interest in this item. So Mayor Schooler, Councilmember Drozd own vacation rentals, and therefore should not participate in this item due to this potential conflict of interest. All that said, under state law, placing a measure on the ballot requires a supermajority vote of 4 council members. So therefore, the conflict of interest rules allow for a random selection of 1 council member even when there is a conflict of interest, in order to achieve the minimum number of council members to take action on this item. So the town clerk has a bowl with 2 names, with the names of Mayor Schooler and Councilmember Drozd placed in the bowl. She will randomly select 1 name, and that person will be permitted to participate in this item. The person not selected must leave the dais in the room and can remain in the room if planning to speak as a member of the public. So with that said, happy to answer questions. If there's no questions, then the town clerk can select the name.
Oh, public first.
Is there any member of the public wish to comment on this part of the presentation? Yes, sir.
What it is also talk about the clean area and all the shopping carts and everything, but also I think what I see is we're allowing them to break into the buildings and nobody checks the windows to see where
Excuse
they're
me,
going
sir,
to.
we've moved on from that item. Could we readdress that at public comments? This one has to do with the potential ballot measure.
I'm sorry. My
It's okay.
mistake.
There'll be a chance at public comments if you want to talk about that. Any other comments on the potential ballot measure? Okay, so
Can we do rock, paper, scissors?
I recommend the random selection that the
we
town clerk has.
We do have a procedure in place, so I guess the town clerk is going to draw a name.
Go for it. Yeah, 50-50
So
chance.
scientific. Mayor Schooler.
Okay.
All right, Mayor.
So
He
I-
retains, he stays.
So I stay,
gets to
and
leave.
Councilmember Droz, you may sit in the audience.
Go eat a cookie. They're really good. Unless you want to speak.
All right, then, so we can move on to the staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We're going to bring up just a couple of slides for you tonight. Talk a little bit about how we got here. So this is, as Town Attorney Jex indicated, consideration of a hotel short-term vacation rental tax measure, and how it coincides with addressing community priorities. You'll recollect that as part of our strategic planning efforts, all the way back in 2021, in the fall of 2021, as well as your budget process in 2022, we conducted a number of outreach efforts to identify what community priorities were top of mind for our local residents. Not surprising, some of the responses, the majority of the responses were much along the lines of what we heard when we talked about Measure Y and some of our other funding needs in the community. Police patrols, public safety, 911 emergency response, crime prevention, always top of mind for our local residents. Maintaining local streets, fixing potholes, managing traffic issues, again, top of mind for our residents. And then some of the other comments that we heard were along a number of different aspects of quality of life, including cleaning up trash, litter dumped, as we talked about in some of the prior agenda items. As the council debated and updated short-term vacation rental policy, you heard a number of comments from the public on concerns that, is the town doing enough to address the problems caused by short-term vacation rentals? Do we have enough compliance efforts moving forward? Are those individuals that are taking advantage of all of the tourism in our town offsetting some of their demands on the community? And so those are many of the community priorities that you heard through that process. The council knows we have over 145 miles of roads that need to be updated, that need to be maintained on a regular basis according to our pavement management system and other tools that we use. The cost of public safety continues to increase. In fact, under staff comments, I'll give you an update on a conversation that we had today with the county sheriff. But the bottom line is those costs continue to increase. Given the climate of legislation related to public safety in the state of California, we know that our quality of life is often threatened by what occurs in the public safety arena, people being able to be out of jail faster, quite frankly, and having more opportunities for causing havoc in our community. And so that need for public safety continues to be our primary objective. And then ensuring that our community remains that special small town character place, a place to live here. And that's what people come here for. That's what people like. You could even see that in some of those pictures there. Our public works crew there on the street. That big crowded picture below is, I think, from our last or one of our last snow day events that tends to be super popular. And it's those small town events and quality of life that make Yucca Valley so special. As the council knows, as we've introduced the ability for individuals to provide short-term vacation rental opportunities for the visiting guests here in the town of Yucca Valley starting in roughly 2018, we have had, and was accelerated by the pandemic, an increase in short-term vacation rentals. We're close to 500 right now. The town council, by policy, has established a 10% cap, so we're approaching that cap. And that visitation, while it has many positives, also has concerns, and that is that the services that we provide as a community continue to go up in cost and oftentimes are borne by our local residents, offsetting those demands from some of the increased tourism that we see in the community. Hotel short-term vacation rental tax measure, what is it? This is something that staff is presenting to the council for consideration of putting on the ballot in November. This is a modification of your existing transit occupancy tax ordinance. We want to be clear and let the community and the council, just to remind you that the transit occupancy tax, kind of a strange word that people don't use that often anymore. This has nothing to do with homeless or unhoused populations or transient in that term. Nor is it paid by any local resident. This isn't a bed tax related to your housing. This is only related to hotels, motels, and short-term vacation rentals This tax is only paid by guests using those lodging amenities. And the current rate that we have right now is at 7%. And the proposal that's before you in the ballot question would raise that to 12%. The specific language that's being recommended in the ballot measure, I'll just read it to you. Hotel vacation rental tax measure to fund general services in the town of Yucca Valley, such as police patrols, 911 emergency response, gang, crime prevention, street maintenance, traffic maintenance, management, keeping parks, facilities safe and clean, supporting fire protection, affordable housing. Shall an ordinance be adopted changing the town's existing transient occupancy tax paid by hotel vacation rental guests to 12%, providing an additional $1.3 million annually for general government use until ended by voters, with all funds locally controlled. This is a yes/no vote. The threshold for passing this measure is 50% plus one. This would, if approved by the council and placed before the voters, would be on your November 2022 ballot coming up. That $1.3 million, what would it be used for? Again, to address community priorities, police patrols, 911 emergency response, crime prevention, maintaining local streets, and many of the other things that we have listed. We do want to highlight two others, one that's on there and one that's not on there. Monitoring and addressing problems caused by short-term vacation rentals. So this goes back to the comments that you heard when you were having policy discussions on short-term vacation rentals. Is the town doing enough to enforce and make sure that the bad actors are taken care of? This would provide funding for that. And then equally, I think that one of the interesting comments that you received from a number of folks when you were having the short-term vacation rental policy discussion was the demonstration of commitment and investment from individuals buying properties, improving properties in the town of Yucca Valley. And the council was very supportive of that, understanding the value that provides to the community long term. And so this would also provide funding to ensure that Yucca Valley is identified as a desirable location to visit and thereby help those efforts as well. So it is wide-ranging, but primarily focused on the service priorities as identified by town residents. In terms of history on our short-term vacation rental and TOT ordinance, same thing that we've had in place since incorporation for over 30 years. Upon incorporation, we had that 7% rate. And that rate, as you can see here in this comparison, is at the bottom of the heap of all of your surrounding communities. Generally speaking, most of them are around 12 to 13% between TOT and T-bid rates. The Yucca Valley at 7% does not accommodate many of the increases in service costs, and by not having an updated rate, that places that additional burden for providing those services on local residents as opposed to those that are coming in to the community and providing that extra demand on service. Next steps, if the council's interested in moving this forward, the ballot question would be sent to the county registrar of voters for the November 2022 election. The town attorney will prepare an impartial analysis by August 19th, and then this again is for your November 8th, 2022 election. If approved by the voters, this would be implemented likely beginning January 2023. That concludes the town staff report on this item, Mayor. Be happy to answer questions after public comment, and anything else that we can provide to you, the team is ready to do so.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on this item? Seeing none, bring it back to the council for comment, discussion. Councilmember Abel?
Yes, yeah, it's obviously long overdue with being so far behind the curve as far as recovery of funds. You know, this is a common problem that we didn't have before because we're now a vacation destination. We're now more of a tourist area. This is a common problem for communities that are tourist destinations. We're having to serve more people than we actually have as residents because all the people coming in, visiting for the weekend or for a week and then leaving. So the population that we're serving, protecting, that we're providing services for is greater than the number of residents that we have just here. So we have to find a way to be able to help make the community and keep the community safe, and yet not burden our local constituents. So I think this is a really wise thing to look into as far as moving forward to help address these issues and not place the burden on our residents that are already hardworking, and this assistance will really help us deal with those issues that we're starting to see.
Councilmember Lombardo.
I think it's important to look into this and move forward with it. I also believe that it's been 30 years since we've changed anything about the rate, and we need to get up to date. The money will definitely allow us to make improve the impact that the visitors have on our community to the local residents, and will give us the ability to improve the quality of life through various means. And the funds will, I assume, be used, are monitored through the same community type of based committee that kind of approves or looks at how the money is spent to make sure it's utilized in the right way. Is that correct? Are they going to have a committee?
These are
Does it
the
not
towns,
measure why?
these are town funds that are subject to town council appropriation, number one. Number two, they are subject to independent audit, as the town council has established an independent auditor to look at all of the town funds and report back to the public annually.
Okay, so it'll be audited funds and used in the way that the town.
Yes, and they
Best
are subject to
feels that.
local appropriation. These cannot be taken by Sacramento or other outside entities.
And that's another important thing, because the state always seems to find a way to change the rules midstream, and like they did with the redevelopment money, all of a sudden we're missing a huge amount of funds with no means of really combating that. So I think that being under local control, I think we'll be able to make much better use of it. And I do think that the vacation rentals has been a mixed bag of good and bad, and this will help the town utilize some funds that will improve the life of the residents as well as make the town a safer place. So I think it has a lot of good benefits and needs to be investigate a little further, or move forward. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So it's always been a great concern to me, it's always said the same thing, is our public safety, our infrastructure, and our quality of life. And we all know the quality of life part is really what keeps us here. It's everything else is just management of services. And I think that's where a lot of the problem came. I've spoke to many residents. They were concerned about the quality of life, getting a little tougher out here. And it wasn't, if we look at the census, the town didn't change much in the last 10 years. The populations remained fairly the same. The rate of infrastructure consumption and service consumption exceeded the rate of the population that live here, the full-time residents. And those folks, we really listened to them, so we came up with new tools to use for short-term vacation rentals. And we're very ambitious in making sure that those things happen to improve control of the program and what's happening with tourism in our area, that it doesn't disrupt the quality of life for the residents. And another thing that we need to do that is we need to have sustainable funding to make sure we can implement those programs and that they're sustainable and they don't impact the residents of the town. And through TOT, we can do that. We've clearly identified on here that we're interested in our police patrols, our 911 response. It includes our fire protection, our EMS services, and the other items that we talked about, street maintenance, traffic management, keeping our parks and facilities clean for the residents. They're the ones that usually use it. So I'm wholeheartedly in support of this measure. I actually, if we didn't have a cap on it, which we did at the request of the community to have some kind of threshold, some kind of cap on short-term vacation rentals, I would probably seek a higher number than 12%. That's very conservative in the amount of disruption that we have from tourism in the area. So I think it's a very good tool. I'm all in support, and I applaud the staff for putting this together and the numbers that we have today.
Thank you. Yes, I agree that This is way overdue. I think the chart is really telling that of all the cities nearby, within a reasonable radius of us, and everywhere you go, 7% is by far the lowest that you pay anywhere. And we have been at that level for a long, long time. So I think moving it up to get just in the same ballpark as other cities is reasonable. The fact that it does not impact the local residents' tax picture, but it addresses the impacts of the visitors that are coming into our area. And we do have a lot of needs. Measure Y has been very beneficial in helping us to address those needs, but with the impacts of visitors and those needs continue to grow. So I think the timing is good. Cost of doing business continues to go up. This gives us a way of addressing those additional costs without burdening our local taxpayers. So I support this as well. So with that,
Mayor, I believe there was one public comment received. Leslie, did you have that?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So before the meeting, there was public comment received by Ms. Margaret Strachan. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read that for you. For item number 19, I support placing a measure to increase the TOT tax to 12%. However, would like more specifics as to exactly what it will fund. I do not see code enforcement listed on the proposed ballot item, and that is a major issue with regard to short-term vacation rentals. Affordable housing is a paramount concern, but that has to go hand in hand with solid workforce opportunities, not just house cleaning or unlicensed handyman jobs. People need legitimate employment opportunities in our community. Crime, street maintenance, fire protection, and clean facilities are important, but not priorities to someone who needs to pay utility bills and keep a family fed and housed. By Margaret Strachan, Yucca Valley.
okay, thank you. With that, is there a motion?
I'd like to move the item.
And Mayor, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
and Mayor Schooler.
Yes. And can we invite Councilmember Droz back in? Is he still in the building?
Can one of you gentlemen see Councilmember Droz? Thank you.
We have to let him back in.
Okay, we will move on to future agenda items. Does any council member have any items to be placed on a future agenda? Don't see any. Public comments. The town council takes this time to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the printed agenda. When you are called to speak, please state your name and community of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in forfeiture of your public comment privileges. The town council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not on the printed agenda. With that, is there any additional public comments? Yes, come on up, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes.
And I'm talking about the beautification of Yucca Valley. One of the things that I noticed about Yucca Valley recently is so many shopping centers, stores, and businesses are letting their trees die, letting their trees come apart. We had one in a shopping center where the tree actually fell on the road, so we had to back up. It stayed that way for 2 days, and they finally moved it. But the vegetation here is looking so bad. The roads are not being maintained as far as scenery and the shopping center from the scenery, because we want people to come here and we want people to spend money here, but if it looks like it's really worn down and nobody cares, maybe why should they come here? Because apparently we don't care, because like I said, you guys can't go to any shopping center here that you won't find trees down or trees dying. front, back, sides, and unfortunately, even in some homes. I know that because I fight to keep my trees alive. And with that, I'll let you go.
All right, thank you. Move on to staff reports and comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple. Sue, can you come up and just give a quick update on community service events for this summer?
Of course. First of all, we want to say that we're so happy after our kitchen remodel to have our senior center reopened. On July 1st, we had a barbecue party, invited all our seniors. It was a packed house. We want to thank the mayor and Councilmember Drozd and our town manager and our supervisor, Don Rao, and the San Bernardino County Fire who did all the barbecuing. And it was just a great party, and they're very, very happy to be back. We also presented the 4th of July fireworks spectacular in concert. So thanks to the mayor for hosting that. And also thanks to Miss Yucca Valley Court, Citizens on Patrol, town staff, and sheriff and fire departments for helping us. That's a big event and takes a lot of assistance to pull that off. Our concerts will continue. We have 4 more. They are Saturdays at 7 p.m. at the community center. This weekend, join us for some terrific Southern rock with Skinnerd and Friends, a Leonard Skinner tribute band. We also have H2O, our water play on Fridays, every Friday for 8 and under from 10 to noon through August 12th. Also coming up, we have our Splash Dash 5K run and 2K walk at Macris Park. That's a race and a pop-up water park. What? And that's on Saturday, August 20th. If you register by August 12th, you get that $5 discount. So hop on our website and register for that. Adult softball's underway. Come out and see us on Tuesday evenings from 6 to 9. We have drop-in softball for $3. Our summer league is also underway on Thursdays. Aquatics is also going strong. New this year, we have swim and movie nights, July 29th and August 12th at 7:30 p.m. Buy your tickets, $3 online and $4 in person. So we're super thrilled. It's the first time we've been able to do movie nights at the pool. The lights have been repaired and we're ready to go. So that's it.
Thank you, Sue. Armando, you have anything tonight? Deborah? Captain, you have to have some final words for us. You got it. Shane?
Just a couple things, Mayor and Council. I want to acknowledge the street and park crew for stepping up on the council's highway beautification program. As you know, we lost our private sector contractor during COVID. We've not been able to replace that service, and the streets and park crew have been picking up those pieces. It's a dangerous job out there with the vehicles, number one. It's also not a nice environment for them to work in. They're yelled at, they're cussed at, they have things thrown at them while they're out performing that work, and I just want to acknowledge the dedication of those employees and the services that they provide to this community. Planning Commission has made a recommendation to the council on mural regulations that will be scheduled for you in the near future. Tied into that and the sign program, and you heard the town manager talk about code enforcement and planning staff tonight. When you make certain modifications to your sign code, you're required to do an inventory. The last inventory that we did for signs was back in 2003. Well, in that inventory process, you take photos. And you take photos of gasoline stations and the price boards at gasoline stations. So I won't give you a test on the price of gasoline in 2003, but it was approximately $1.68 a gallon. We are wishing for those days, very much so. Comments were made tonight. We talked a lot about traffic safety, and the town has put a lot of resources into traffic safety, both on the engineering side as well as the enforcement side through the Sheriff's Department for years. One of the comments tonight was about the need to widen Highway 62, and as the council knows, we've been working on that for years, and we have a project coming up to take Highway 62 from 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction between Sage and Airway. As you saw on the map tonight, that's the red zone on Highway 62. That project, the design of that project will start in approximately 2025. It's about a 10-year delivery timeline for that project. Finally, just want to mention Yucca Valley Animal Shelter, 4755 Malin Way. Adopt an animal. There are dogs, there are cats, and sometimes there are other interesting critters there. The shelter is open Tuesday through Saturdays, 12 to 5. Please go up. There are animals that are always looking for their new forever home.
Thank you, Shane. Last comment I have, again, just saying thank you to the captain. We're going to miss you. Best wishes as you move on, and enjoy your retirement for sure. So thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you. Okay, council member comments. Council member Abel?
Yes, first of all, I have had a chance to go and see the swim program. My grandchildren are in that program, and it is just running so well. I'm very impressed. I was a pool manager for a year or two, and I was watching the lifeguards, how they interact with the parents as well as the students, and also how they exchange positions. And I'm like, man, if I was a secret shopper, I'd be giving them A++. And the supervisor wasn't even around at that particular time. So I was going to pass that on, so I'm passing it on to you now, Sue. Fantastic job. I'm very impressed. We always seem to get the best guards, and I know we go through a vetting process, and a lot of times they do come back multiple years, but a lot of new faces this year that I haven't seen before. But fantastic program. It's busting at the seams. I know you even expanded it a little bit and added a few more classes here recently. Also, I wanted to thank the town, whoever's handling social media. It's really good, really, really good. I've been noticing, it pops up on my news feeds, it pops up from time to time, and it's always so well done, right to the point, very colorful. So whoever's doing that, kudos to them, and getting the word out. Again, it's really important that we do get the community's feedback. And we appreciate people coming here tonight to speak and tell us about what they see and what they observe. And social media is a great way to reach out to people. So great job, staff, and thank you so much. Hope everyone had a great 4th, and look forward to the concerts in the park.
Councilmember Droz?
All right, I want to say the Senior Center grand opening was incredible. That was really great. So thank you, Sue, and everybody over there. A lot of great improvements, so that was nice to see. And I'm anxious to go to as many summer concerts as I can. I won't be able to this weekend, but I think I'll be able to go to the last 3, so that will be fun. Robert, the highwayman, sorry I threw that bottle at you of water. I hope it didn't hurt you, but no, I want to thank you and your crew for all you do, so thank you for that. And you're here at almost every meeting. I can't think of one you haven't, but you know, that's incredible. You've been here more than me, so that's great. And Captain, I really wish you well. You, like I said, I try to get my wife to call me sir, and she doesn't. And now I'm losing you, so no one's going to call me sir anymore. But seriously, you are an incredible person. You've helped me so much, and you've helped the community so much. And we really appreciate you, and I wish you well wherever you're going in New York. So keep in touch. All right. And, yeah, that's the last time, darn it. Okay, well, have a great one.
Okay, Councilmember Lombardo.
I get a good chuckle out of that. Thank you. I want to thank Al Arrowwood and his wife for allowing him to work here for the last 10 years. And he was always a bright face and a happy attitude, and he was here every time I wandered by through things. And I knew him in another capacity as well in town for many years, and always a very pleasant person, did his job, very professional, always happy to help in whatever way possible, a good server to the community, and he'll be missed. Captain Niles, same happy retirement to you. It's well-deserved, and you spent your time, you did it right, and we wish you the best when you retire in the next 2 weeks or so, huh? Wow, not bad. Safe travels and many blessings to you. and your family. Thank you for the presentations today. There was a lot of information in the safety report. It was very interesting to read, and I'm looking forward to what comes of the beautification and the just so many things that we got accomplished, and I think we're moving in the right direction. Want to thank the public for being patient through all the construction. It does seem to be winding down, and the town is a little bit more free to travel through now, and but still be careful. That's about it for me. I thank everybody. It was fun.
Mayor Pro Tem Dennison.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, it's been pretty hot outside lately, and I noticed that people kind of burn out a little quickly. And what Shane had mentioned really echoes here. Our crews that work outside, the road and the parks crews, they still have a job to do. They're out there all day long. Yeah. And it's a shame to hear that people are giving them, a difficult work environment. So I want to say thanks, and please pass it on to all the guys and all the crews out there. And yeah, it's hard work, but when I was walking from the parking lot today into this building, I walked through the grass like I usually do because I don't get to do that often, and it's perfect. It's like a rug. It's so perfect, and the guys make the time to do that. They're doing little things you don't think of, at all of our parks, and it's just so beautiful. When you start seeing the kids out there running on the grass and enjoying what little bit of grass we maintain within, well, we have a lot of grass, but the little bit of grass in the desert, it's the best it can be. And I'm so thankful for all the work they're doing. And run and a water park? That's great. So excellent, brilliant. It sounds like it's going to be a tiring day. And I also want to thank, I'm so glad that the fire department came out and highlighted some of the work that they do out there. Stacy was here today also. The firefighters were here today. And the Miracle League is a blessing within our community. There's not many of them out there. We're fortunate to have one in this town. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to go once in a while. And it's really a blast. It's such a blast. If you haven't been there, a new season's coming up. Just stay posted. It'll show up on all your social media. And thanks to Al, of course. I've worked with Al a lot too. I wish him well in his retirement. And Captain, thanks again. I've already said a few things, but you're a solid person. You're very respectful to everything that you do. You understand the value of relationships. And that's a good deal. And it's a lucky community wherever you land and whatever you do. I wish you guys, your family, the very best. So thanks again. And Captain Warwick, welcome. You have big shoes to fill. I'm sure you're up to the job. I don't think that Captain Niles would take it lightly who he was going to pass the torch to. And welcome to our community. We look forward to working with you. And that's all.
Well, by the time it gets around to me, it's all been said, so I'm not going to repeat everything. But we do wish Captain Niles well. Welcome to Captain Warwick. All the best to you and your family, Lucas. And what else did we miss? Oh, Slurry Seal project. I'm glad to see that's coming to a close. That was been kind of painful out there. But yeah, it's good work. I think everybody's really happy with the way the roads are shaping up out there. So with that, just all the things that we're moving forward, I think Councilman Lombardo said it well. It's an exciting time to be in Yucca Valley, and even though it seems a little slow in the summertime, there's an awful lot going on, and we're looking forward to the concerts coming up too. So, and all the stuff we have going on. So anyway, with that, upcoming meeting schedule. The regularly scheduled meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022 has been canceled for lack of quorum. The next meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council will be held on Tuesday, August 16th, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the Yucca Valley Community Center Yucca Room. And with that, I will adjourn this meeting.